What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the all-new 2025 Mini Cooper S. This is the two-door hardtop finished in midnight black. MSRP is $37,500. So let's take a look at what this little car has to offer. Pulling that twice, we can go ahead and pop this clamshell hood. Really cool how it leaves the headlights behind when you do that. But underneath the hood, this is going to feature the 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo motor. It pumps out 201 horsepower with 221 pound-feet of torque. Has a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and it is front-wheel drive. 0 to 60 time is about 6.3 seconds. Curb weight's 3,000 pounds. If we go ahead and close the hood, taking a look at some of the styling, the front end's a little subtle comparing it to the previous generation, so you may not really notice the extra differences. The headlights are a little bit more unique with these lines in them. You got the nice DRL all around it. Smooth overall, so it still has that classic Mini style, but just a little bit smoother than previous gens. Get the Mini badge, forward-facing sensor, your S logo, forward camera, active grille shutters down below to improve efficiency and cooling when needed, and then you have all your front parking sensors. So sporty looking front end, like we've all known to be accustomed to from this kind of car. Got the nice British flag along these racing stripes. And then as we make our way to the side profile, that plastic front splitter makes its way into these side fenders as well. You can see these 17-inch wheels with a multi-spoke design, and then it's really smooth for the side profile. You got a set of body colored mirrors along with the black for all the roof and A-pillars, large door handle, and then this is going to feature a sunroof up on top with the full panoramic view. Side profile is basically what you're known to be accustomed to with this general car, and then the rear windows fade nicely into the back with an integrated spoiler up on top, small windshield wiper, and then the new taillights definitely look really up to date. So really cool the way this is all designed. You got your badging right in the center, and it looks a little bit wider in the bottom than the top. So it makes it look like kind of like a fat rear end. So it looks pretty cool. More parking sensors all throughout it. Definitely a sporty looking car. I like the bronze for the subtle accents. Can't complain. Nice little pinstripe as well. And then moving to the cargo area, you can press the button right here, manually open that up, and with the seats up, you got a little bit of storage space in here. Not all too much, however, still if you can fit a couple backpacks or something. Got a little privacy cover. Very easily you can remove this and get yourself a little bit more storage. So as you can see with this out, you can see a little bit extra space. Now these headrests also fold upwards and downwards for better driver visibility, and then you can very easily pull these forward. You will have to get the seats out of the way, so it's all manual, so you're gonna have to just come in here real quick, and then we can either slide this forward or just grab the handle and do that for us. But with it down, you can see they're gonna fold nice and flat, and then coming around the back side, you can just get a little bit better idea of how that's gonna look with it down. 2 grab handles up above as well, and then we can make our way into the back seat, see what it's like sitting here. So if I go ahead and push these up and climb my way in here at 5'11", I'm definitely on the big side for this car. My knees and legs are a little crunch. However, you do have a pretty good view around. Nice seats overall. The headrests, of course, are gonna do their thing. And then there's no extra reclining or anything. So it's decent, it's good enough back here. Obviously no real amenities or anything aside from one couple that you and your buddy next to you are gonna have to fight over. But nonetheless, you know, it's decent for a small car, and I do like the extra glass. Climbing out now, let's move on to the front seat. Getting that back together. So on the door panel, you're gonna see this black fabric, and certain angles you can see the blue all through it. So pretty unique design there. You have your release handle right here, more black, a little bit of padding for the armrest, Mini, all your manual controls for recline, up and down, and then a slider to go forwards and back. Now on the seats, I really like this cool multicolor fabric, blue stitching, and then the smooth material along with the perforations. Sporty looking for sure with Mini in the center, and then more fabric up for your headrest. Going ahead and hopping inside, the steering wheel is pretty cool, just finished in the black leather. We have a fabric strap for the bottom spoke, which is pretty cool. Contrast stitching, and then all of your controls. To start it, you have this cool little turn key, foot on the brake. Just twist that, and the car will roar to life. Now with that, we have climate right on the screen. You can easily adjust. You do have to sometimes hit a few controls, which is one drawback with modern cars these days. But nonetheless, you're gonna see that super cool screen in a second. We have controls on the right for windshield wipers, stock on the left side for turn signal, of course Bluetooth and audio controls, cruise control all along the steering wheel, and a nice little heads-up display. Air vent on the left, and more of this black fabric throughout the dashboard with the blue on the inside. Got a cool little leather strap with like a multicolored rainbow stitching, and all of your different air vents right in the center on the right side. Now for the screen, you can toggle left and right, see a few different things that'll pop up. We have our navigation, you can continue scrolling. Really cool the way this is integrated, being a full round LCD. About 9 inches or so, size of a basketball, but really cool looking. You can toggle this as well, see a few more apps. You got your Apple CarPlay, a few more items you can go through, and then you can go into your audio control as well, back to your climate, full screen navigation, and then phone integration. Now for drive modes, you have this experiences toggle. So when you toggle this up and down, it'll get you all these different screens. Not only will it change the cool design, but it does change how the drive of the car is. And it plays a fun animation. Now from any screen, you can easily toggle your temperature by just doing that. You do have to kind of tap it a million times, which again is one drawback. You can, I guess, rotate it a little bit, but nonetheless, you got this really cool design now in the timeless one. And then you can also use touchscreen. My favorite one is the go-kart mode. So that is your sport mode. It'll play a cool animation. And then you have the massive speedometer, tach, and everything. And then on some of the screens, when you're somewhere else, you can just tap the upper section to get you back to the cool screen. And then of course, like all the other screens, you can still back out of it, swipe around, and do what you need to do. So going underneath that, we have our drive select over here. Pushing it down goes into drive, and then we have reverse for the up. You can see all of your camera systems as well, pretty good view. Going into drive, you can now switch to that front view. We have our park button as well. You can easily exit out of there. Then we have the drive mode select, volume control, a few more down below. Wireless phone charging, along with a strap to hold your phone in place. More storage and cup holders all down below. And then you can see plugs down here with a nice armrest. Glove box has a pretty good amount of space as well. And then one last look at the interior. It is pretty neat in here. That screen is really cool. I think that's pretty sweet. And I like the two-tone with all the fabric and leather. One last look at the seating. The 2 sunroofs up top with all those controls, and finish it up with a nice thin mirror. All right, so setting off now in the new Mini Cooper. So I'm in the go-kart mode. This is gonna make the car drive a little bit more fun. This is basically sport mode, and given it's so small, it does feel like a go-kart. So it's gonna hold the gears a little bit better. And this is pretty fun, just zipping through this little twisty road. For not having that much power, this thing actually packs a really good punch, even just kind of half throttling it, getting around these little turns. I mean, this car honestly is fun. It is like a little go-kart. You can just have some fun in it, rip it around some back roads, and it's pretty cool. Obviously the footprint of this car, this thing is super easy to just maneuver. You know, the camera system works pretty well. It doesn't really take all too much time getting used to the cameras and the gear selector and everything, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. You know, if we toggle into a different drive mode, I do like the look at Timeless. That just looks really unique. But, you know, in that mode, you still feel a pretty peppy aspect to the car. Oh, this thing is just fun to play around. And suspension just feels so confident, too. I mean, this thing is very composed. Obviously, we're going slow, but still. These are sharp turns. And this thing is just ripping it around. If you want to have just a fun little car, I mean, Mini Coopers have been around forever, and the fun factor has always been there. And this new one definitely adds a lot of fun factor to it. So if we tone it down into the green mode, just the conservative drive mode, this is definitely way more sluggish. Like, I'm trying to floor it and nothing's happening with our speed. But some normal things, you know, you have a really good view out the front, mirrors all do a great job, and the back end is right there. So honestly, it's really easy to see around. The ergonomics are pretty cool. I like how minimalistic the car is. My one complaint is, you know, like with the BMWs, which is, you know, built with Mini, kind of the same company, you have to tap here every time to adjust your temperature, and you kind of have to tap it, or you can kind of rotate your finger. But nonetheless, I wouldn't mind just a little bit better way to change your fan speed as well as the temperature. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of every single thing in the screen. But I think overall, this does do a pretty good job making it easy to use. The toggles are really unique looking, and the screen itself, while not everyone likes the big tablet, this just looks so cool. It's so different, it's so unique, it totally fits the theme of a Mini. You know, Minis are kind of weird, they're a little quirky. So to have just this big round 9-inch screen looks so cool. The older ones had a bezel with a normal screen in it, but this one just fits the interior, honestly. I feel like it really is nice. These seats are also really comfortable, super supportive as well. I mean, I fit nicely in this car, And I like this, you know, the armrests are padded enough. It's a nice place to be. And when you're driving in it, you can tell it has that BMW intervention to where it feels pretty refined. You know, if we get up to a little higher speed, you don't really hear any road noise or wind noise. It's very comfortable, and yet it was fun to rip through the little twisty turns. So the suspension absorbs the bumps to where this is a perfect daily driver. So I think there's a pretty good two aspects with this car to where it can be an economical daily driver. I mean, it's got the comfort aspect. It's got good modern technology as you would expect in any 2025 model year car. And you know, the way everything works and everything, I mean, it's easy to pinpoint and easy to place. Really no complaints if this is going to be your daily. I think you're going to be able to enjoy the drive since it's relaxing, and then also have a fun factor out of this car. And given it's actually pretty practical, you know, this is something you can use and actually use the space that it has. This thing's peppy, man. For not having much power, this thing is peppy. But, you know, for the limited space it does have, it still is maximized towards a pretty practical and fun car.